Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, Chapter 13, Text 60. Yatra naisarga durvaira saha sandru mrugadayaha mitrani va ajitavasa drutrut tarshakadikam. Yatra naisarga durvaira saha sandru mrugadayaha mitrani vajitavasa drutrut tarshakadikam. Yatra naisarga durvaira saha sandru mrugadayaha mitrani vajitavasa drutrut tarshakadikam. Tarshakadikam. Yatra naisarga durvaira saha sandru mrugadayaha mitrani vajitavasa drutrut tarshakadikam. Mataji. Yatra naisarga durvaira saha sandru mrugadayaha mitrani vajitavasa drutrut tarshakadikam. Word by word meaning. Yatra, where, naisarga, by nature, durvairaha, living in enmity, saha asan, live together, nr, human beings, mruga adayaha, and animals, mitrani, friends, iva, like Ajita, of Lord Shri Krishna, avasa, residence, drat, gone away, rut, anger, tarshakadikam, thirst, and so on. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Vrindavan is the transcendental abode of the Lord, where there is no hunger, anger, or thirst. Though naturally inimical, both human beings and fierce animals live there together in transcendental friendship. Purport. The word vana means forest. We are afraid of the forest and do not wish to go there. But in Vrindavan, the forest animals are as good as demigods, for they have no envy. Even in the material world, in the forest, the animals live together, and when they go to drink water, they do not attack anyone. Envy develops because of sense gratification, but in Vrindavan, there is no sense gratification, for the only aim is Krishna's satisfaction. Even in this material world, the animals in Vrindavan are not envious of the sadhus who live there. The sadhus keep cows and supply milk to the tigers, saying, "Come here and take a little milk." Thus envy and malice are unknown to Vrindavan. That is the difference between Vrindavan and the ordinary world. We are horrified to hear the name of Vana, the forest, but in Vrindavan there is no such horror. Everyone there is happy by pleasing Krishna. Krishna Kirtana Gana Nartana Parau. Whether a Goswami or a tiger or other ferocious animal, everyone's business is the same, to please Krishna. Even the tigers are also devotees. This is the specific qualification of Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, everyone is happy. The calf is happy, the cat is happy, the dog is happy, the man is happy, everyone. Everyone wants to serve Krishna in different capacity, and thus there is no envy. One may sometimes think that the monkeys in Vrindavan are envious because they cause mischief and steal food. But in Vrindavan we find that the monkeys are allowed to take butter, which Krishna himself distributes. Krishna personally demonstrates that everyone has a right to live. This is Vrindavan life. Why should I live and you die? No, that is material life. The inhabitants of Vrindavan think, whatever is given by Krishna, let us divide it as prasad and eat. This mentality cannot appear all of a sudden, but it will gradually develop with Krishna consciousness. By sadhana, one can come to this platform. In the material world, one may collect funds all over the world in order to distribute food freely. Yet, those to whom the food is given may not even feel appreciative. The value of Krishna consciousness, however, will gradually be very much appreciated. For instance, in an article about the temple of the Hare Krishna movement in Durban, South Africa, the Durban Post reported, all the devotees here are very active in the service of Lord Krishna, and the results are obvious to see. Happiness, good health, peace of mind, and the development of all good qualities. This is the nature of Vrindavan. Harau abhaktasya kuto mahat gunaha. Without Krishna consciousness, happiness is impossible. One may struggle, but one cannot have happiness. We are therefore trying to give human society the opportunity for a life of happiness, good health, and peace of mind, and all good qualities through God consciousness. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. First of all, I would like to seek the blessings of all Vaishnavas sitting in this assembly, so that I can say a few words on this wonderful verse and even more wonderful purports which Srila Prabhupada has given. It's a very long purport. Actually, there is no need for a class. But nevertheless, since I have been given this service, I would like to share some thoughts on the subject. Now, the discussions on Brahma Vimohan Leela, that's what it is called. I think they have been going on in this temple for almost 2 months now. I think the first class we heard was on 21st September, Lalita Shashti. And now 2 months have gone by, and all the devotees have spoken so wonderfully on this particular pastime. And as all of us know, this particular chapter is especially dear to all the devotees of ISKCON, because this happens to be the last chapter on which Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, our founder Acharya, he dictated the purports. It was the last chapter before he wound up his earthly pastime. So therefore, it is very, very potent, very, very precious for all ISKCON devotees. So it's called Brahma Vimohana. Vimohana comes from the word moha, which means, to get bewildered, which means to get illusioned. And Srila Prabhupada writes in Bhagavad Gita that moha, illusion or bewilderment, is opposite of knowledge. And what is knowledge? According to Srila Prabhupada, knowledge is that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and we are His eternal servants. That is the highest knowledge that we can think of. And when we become bereft of this knowledge, then we get bewildered very much. So in this material world, there is constant bewilderment. Our bewilderment began when we started identifying ourselves as the body and not the spirit soul. That is the starting point for all bewilderment. And then there are continuously, there are bewilderments in life. So many things happen, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, so many things happening. And a living entity, unless he is endowed with spiritual knowledge, is constantly subjected to bewilderment. I remember recently reading in the newspaper about one particular gentleman, an engineer. I think his name is Bhavesh Parmar. Now, he was supposed to be, I think, an electronics engineer staying in Villeparle East. And recently, newspapers carried his photographs of his mother, because he had returned from Pakistan after 6 years of jail. Everybody may be knowing. He was 6 years rotting in a Pakistan jail. How did it happen? When he was asked, he was in such a bewildered state and such confused state that he said that, I know that I went to Amritsar, and then I vaguely remember that I was on Samjhota Express, and the next thing that I find is that I am in a Pakistani jail. So he was on the train. The train went to Pakistan because he had no valid papers. He was arrested, put in jail, and for 6 years he was rotting in jail. So, completely bewildered. So we find that we can get bewildered by almost anything. He doesn't remember anything. He says that I just don't know what happened to me. So we can get bewildered. Sometimes, we read in newspapers and that, a particular person, was given some sweet to eat in a ST bus. And the next thing, is found that, he is in some place, Bhiwandi or some such place. He doesn't want to go there, but he is forced to go there. So this is, bewilderment can be caused by nature. Bewilderment can also be caused by human beings by, using some drugs. I remember reading once that there are certain people who have this, capacity to hypnotize an individual, and by hypnosis, that person, the victim, willingly hands over all his ornaments, all his valuables to the person, criminal. And after some time, he suddenly becomes, aware that he has been taken for a ride. So this is bewilderment. So all of us lead this kind of a bewildered existence. In Mayapur, His Holiness Radhanath Swami was describing a pastime of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his childhood pastime, where, all of you are aware of that, where two thieves, they came once to Jagannath Mishra's house and they saw beautiful Nimai, child, just a baby child. He was wearing all kinds of ornaments, and they thought that we should take these ornaments off this child. So they called him, child, come, we'll take you somewhere. So he was just carefree. The Supreme Lord, what care does he have? He was just, moving here and there, and the thieves just picked him up and they carried him. One of them gave him, sandesh to eat. And so he was carefree. He was riding on the shoulders of the thieves, and the thieves wanted to take Nimai to their residence and remove all the jewels and leave him. That's what kidnappers do, isn't it? So that's what they wanted to do. And Nimai was happily, blissfully enjoying the ride, getting a ride. Children like rides, whether it is on a horseback or on a camel or whatever. So he was enjoying the ride. And these thieves were thinking, now, we'll go to our house, our den, and, then we will strip him of all the jewels, and then our job is done. We don't have to now steal for long time now. Everything will get now. But they were going around, and somehow or the other, they came back to the same spot, that is Jagannath Mishra's house, and all the relatives were frantically looking for Nimai. Where is Nimai? Where is Nimai? Where has he gone? Where is Gauranga? And then the thieves put him down, thinking that they have reached their house, whereas they had reached Nimai's house. So Nimai, just got down and ran into the arms of, Jagannath Mishra, bewildered. Now, this is bewilderment caused by Yogamaya potency of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So there is bewilderment of this sort in life. And of course, the thieves were fortunate because they got to carry Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on their shoulders. So, actually speaking, spiritually they made advancement, though they, tried to steal something from him. So, wonderful. We also see how sometimes, even great devotees get bewildered. Like we know the story, it was related in one of the classes here, that how once, Parvati and Lord Shiva were traveling in the upper, strata, the air, were traveling, and Parvati Devi happened to see, this was in earlier Yuga, Treta Yuga, when Parvati happened to see Lord Ram, in great lamentation, crying out for Sita, Sita, and then he was addressing the plants, he was addressing the creepers. Have you seen my Sita? Where is Sita? Please tell me where is Sita. He was lamenting, lamenting, lamenting. Supreme Lord Ram was lamenting for his wife. Now, Parvati saw this and heard this. She said to Lord Shiva, this is Supreme Lord? Why is he lamenting like an ordinary person? Lord Shiva said, you please don't bother about it. But she said, no, I want to test him, whether he is really the Supreme Lord, Ram. Shiva said, please don't interfere in his pastimes. But, sometimes, women can be very, very stubborn. I don't know, sometimes or whether all the time. But anyway, that particular time, Parvati Devi insisted. And what did she do? She took on the form of Mother Sita. And she went and stood before Lord Ram. Lord Ram was lamenting, where are you? Where are you, Sita? Then as soon as he saw this form of Sita, which was none other than Parvati, he immediately, offered his obeisances to her. And he said, Mother, where is Lord Shiva? So immediately, he was able to recognize, because the Supreme Lord, Vedaham Samatitani, he knows what is happening in everybody's heart. Who is the person? Immediately, Parvati had to retrace her steps back and go to Lord Shiva. And she said that, I'm sorry, I was made a fool of. Shiva said that, I had told you, don't get involved. So, when we try to test the Supreme Lord, the result can be always, bewilderment. And Brahma is in the same mood of wanting to test, the Supreme Lord Krishna. So Brahma has come down. He has come down from Brahma Loka, and he has stepped into Vrindavan, and he's seeing, we won't go into details, we have heard it so many times here. He sees a boy, and a child, Krishna, beautiful child, just a small child, and he's holding in his hand, rice, then, yogurt and fruit in his hand, he's holding it in his hand. And, there are other Gopas, giving him, their remnants, whatever they have got in their mouth, they are handing it over to him, Krishna is handing over. And Brahma is thinking, can this boy be the killer of Aghasur, that great demon, whose lower lip, touched the ground and upper lip, touched the sky? Can this be the boy who killed him? And can this boy, who is indulging in such frivolous activity with his friends, eating all jhuta and all that, is he the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Let me test him. This is where, they say that curiosity killed the cat. Similarly, Brahma's curiosity actually ended up by killing his pride. So Brahma thought that let me mystify Krishna. So what he did, he took away all the cows and he took away all the cowherd boys, and he hid them by his mystic potency. He made them sleep and hid them. And then he said, let me watch the fun. What will happen now? Now, Krishna immediately came to know what the trick is. He came to know that Brahma, is trying to play his trick. Now, Brahma is not an ordinary personality. He is addressed to in the Srimad Bhagavatam as Aja. He is addressed to as Vibhu. He is the originator of our Sampradaya, Brahma Madhva Sampradaya. He is Iresha, the husband of Mother Saraswati. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned that he is the originator of the Gayatri Mantra. Great personality. He is born from the lotus which came, from the navel of Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. He is the first person who came to know that Krishna is going to incarnate. After all, who was the person who came to know first? When the demigods went in distress to Brahma and said that we can't tolerate these atrocities of demoniac counsel, Brahma said, let us go. They went, to Kshirodakashaya Vishnu, and there the Lord, manifests in the heart of Brahma the knowledge that Krishna is going to incarnate as Yadurani. All this wonderful background is there with Brahma, but he developed tinge of pride and he wanted to test Krishna. And Krishna, how did he test him? He tested him wonderfully. So this is summarized in a very beautiful verse by Shukdev Goswami, which came some days ago. Evam sammohan sammohayan vishnum vimoham vishnu mohanam swayeva maya yajopi swayameva mohitaha. Thus, because Lord Brahma wanted to mystify the all-pervading Lord Krishna, who can never be mystified, but who on the contrary mystifies the entire universe, he himself was put into bewilderment by his own mystic power. So Brahma hid all the cows and the cowherd boys, and the Supreme Lord manifested all his expansions who were identical, replicate in every respect. He manifested them. And after having done this, he thought, he'll come back and check what has happened. And he saw that the forms that, the boys he had hidden in the cave and the cows he had hidden in the cave, the same were there outside. As His Holiness Radhanath Swami very vividly described. Once he went to the cave to there. Then he comes here. He says that the boys are still there. So who are these? So he got totally bewildered. He got totally confused. And therefore it is said that Swayameva mohitaha. He himself, ajopi. Aja means, one who is not born from normal biological parents. Born from the, lotus of this Kshirodakashaya Vishnu. So, Prabhupada writes in his comment, he says that instead of defeating Krishna, Brahma was himself defeated, for he could not understand what Krishna was doing. Like snow on a dark night or light of a glowworm in daylight have no value. Similarly, Brahma's mystic power became totally insignificant before the power of Yogeshwar Krishna. Totally insignificant. So this was Brahma's, bewilderment and how he was, totally mystified. And Brahma's bewilderment increased manifold when he saw that the boys and cows manifested by the Lord, they were all, became, Vishnu Murtis. He became bewilderment, he must reach the crescendo height. And then he realized that what a fool he had been. He realized that he was a glowworm in presence of blazing sunlight. He realized that he was like a snowflake in the darkness where nobody can see the snowflake. He realized his insignificance and he became humble. He became very humble. He lost all his, pride. He became very, very humble. And when that happened, he saw Vrindavan. He was able to see Vrindavan. So, one cannot see Vrindavan unless one is free from envy and one is free from, pride. So, Narottam Das Thakur, in a very beautiful his song, he says, Vishaya chadiya kabe Shuddha Bemana Kabe Hama Herivo Shri Vrindavan. So Golok Vrindavan is the supreme abode of Lord Krishna, and Bhauma Vrindavan is also the abode of Supreme Lord Krishna. So no one, Srila Prabhupada writes, that no one can appreciate Vrindavan without being elevated to spiritual knowledge or without being elevated to Krishna consciousness. So physically seeing Vrindavan is like, our going on a trip or a picnic. You may go to Vrindavan. You may be in Vrindavan, but yet you may not be in Vrindavan because your heart, is full of material consciousness. I remember several years ago when I was in the university, we once went to, there was a scientific conference in one of the 5-star hotels in Bhubaneswar where I was invited to give a lecture on chemistry, not Bhagavatam. So I was invited there, and after the conference was over, all of us were taken in luxury buses to Jagannath Puri. So we went to Jagannath Puri. We went through the motion of seeing all the Archa Vigrahas, but we were like tourists. Heart was full of so many material attractions. So you may be in Vrindavan, but yet you may not be in Vrindavan. So one can be in Mumbai and be in Vrindavan consciousness, and one can be in Vrindavan and be in Mumbai consciousness. So this can happen. So Prabhupada very clearly states that unless one is elevated to Krishna consciousness, we cannot truly appreciate Vrindavan. Therefore, when you go to Vrindavan without any spiritual background, you may see so many things and you may get disgusted. You may get disgusted with the pigs, you may get disgusted with the dirt that is being raised, you may get disgusted with the rickshawalas. But when you develop spiritual consciousness, when you become Krishna conscious, Prabhupada tells us that you will be able to see Vrindavan for what it really is. So that's gift of Krishna consciousness. That's something which can happen there. So Narottam Das Thakur, such an exalted devotee, pure devotee, he says, Kabe hum herebo Shri Vrindavan. He says that Vishaya Chadiya, he says that when will my mind be cleansed of all contamination? So I will be able to see Vrindavan as it is. To be able to see Vrindavan as it is, we should be free from contamination. And Brahma stepped down into Vrindavan. Of course, he saw Krishna, that means he was in Vrindavan. But yet he was not in Vrindavan consciousness. Why? Because he wanted to, his mind was contaminated. The great Brahma, his mind was contaminated. And because of that, he was not really able to appreciate the Supreme Personality of Godhead, nor Vrindavan, which is non-different from him. That is sum and substance of what we have been hearing all these days. So, but when he was humbled, when he became repentant, then he was able to see Vrindavan. So we read in the previous verse that then looking in all directions, Lord Brahma immediately saw Vrindavan before him, filled with trees which are the means of livelihood for the inhabitants and which are equally pleasing in all seasons. And then in this verse we are reading, Vrindavan is the transcendental abode of Lord, where there is no hunger, anger or thirst. Though naturally inimical, both human beings and fierce animals live there together in transcendental friendship. So now Brahma is able to see Vrindavan for what it is actually. So this is wonderful. So Vrindavan means, Srila Prabhupada in his beautiful purport, means there is no material contamination. No material contamination. Only love for Krishna. Pleasing Krishna. So in his beautiful purport, Prabhupada comments that everyone, whether a Gosai or whether a ferocious tiger, everyone is happy pleasing Krishna. Everyone is thriving on love for Krishna. Whether it is a plant or a tree or an insect or a ferocious animal, whatever. Everyone is thriving on love for Krishna. And there is transcendental friendship between an animal and a man. So, in Vrindavan, Prabhupada writes that a ferocious tiger and a man, a sadhu, can coexist. So Prabhupada writes about peaceful coexistence. Real formula for peaceful coexistence is not, hoisting different flags of different nations, on United Nations, this flag, that flag, what flag. Real, friendship can there be there when people are, Krishna conscious. So, peaceful coexistence is 100% possible when everyone is Krishna conscious. That's what Prabhupada is, highlighting. So I remember some years ago, when we went with His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj to Barsana, and there we went to, I don't remember all the exact details, we went to, I think, More Kutir. And in Barsana there is More Kutir, and in More Kutir we were narrated the story, of a guru there who had a lion as his disciple. Yeah, am I right? So, lion as a disciple. So, the lion was Krishna conscious, and like a disciple, the lion wanted to serve his guru. We are reading about, ferocious tigers. The lion wanted to serve his guru. So, he would every day go to different houses and, beg for madhukari on behalf of his guru. So, obviously, when a lion, goes to the door, knocks the door, people, would be completely scared and, overwhelmed with fear. But, a small little board, was put across his neck, madhukari for, my Guru Maharaj. And people, would give alms to the lion. So, it's possible. The other day, on Sunday, during Sunday feast, Srimad Prabhu was saying how Narada's, one of the disciples, was a venomous cobra. Krishna conscious. So, the cobra was vicious, was, biting people, spewing poison, but when he became disciple of Narad Muni, he became very mild, and Srimad Prabhu was saying that he became so mild and so humble that, the boys, started saying that this is not a snake, kuch bhi chalta hai. They started throwing stones at him and hurting him. And then, he became very sick. And then Narad Muni saw him, said that, what happened to you? He said that, Gurudev, you had told me, not to bite anyone. So when people are taking advantage, they are throwing stones at me. Then Narad Muni said that, I had told you not to bite, but I had not told you not to hiss. You can raise your hood and, hiss. People will run away. That's what Srinathji Prabhu narrated. So Narad Muni made a cobra into a disciple. So this spirit of Krishna consciousness is not something very, very peculiar only to, human beings. Everybody can be Krishna conscious. So, the verse we are discussing today is also there in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And I would now like to make a transition from Srimad Bhagavatam to Chaitanya Charitamrita. If you don't mind, am I allowed? So I would like to go there to Chaitanya Charitamrita, where this verse which we are reading today has been quoted by none other than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. That's the reason why we are making a transition to Chaitanya Charitamrita. So how did this come about? So after attending Ratha Yatra, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wanted to go to Vrindavan. His previous attempts had been foiled. So he wanted to go to Vrindavan. And his dear disciples, Sri Ramanand Rai and Swarup Damodar, they wanted that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should not go alone. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is always in ecstasy. He doesn't know how to take care of himself. So somebody should go with him. This time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very, very insistent. He said that, okay, I'll take an assistant, but let him not be like Kala Krishna Das, who, became attracted to a woman, and then, I had to catch hold of him and, bring him back. I don't want a person like that. So, at that time, he was assured. How? By Swarup Damodar Maharaj Goswami. He said, Swarupa kahe ei balabhadra bhattacharya tumate susnigdha bada pandita sadhu arya. Said that here is Balabhadra Bhattacharya, and who has great love for God. He is an honest, learned scholar who is advanced in spiritual consciousness. You can take him. He is a new man. He will not take you for granted. Then he says, Lord Chaitanya accepted Balabhadra Bhattacharya as his assistant, and straight away he started walking. He started walking, and while walking towards Vrindavan, he abandoned all the standard roads. Normal route to Vrindavan he abandoned. And what did he do? He started going into the forest. And then as soon as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is eternally in Vrindavan consciousness, as soon as he went to the forest, he thought that he was in Vrindavan. He was in great ecstasy. Nirjanavane chale Prabhu Krishna lamalana hasti vyagra patha ade Prabhu re dekhiya. So when Lord passed through the solitary forest, chanting the holy name of Krishna, tigers and elephants, seeing him, they gave way. They stood aside. Like, big personality, like the king comes, everybody stands aside. So everybody, all these wild animals stood aside. Pale pale vyagra hasti gandara shukara gana tara madhe aveshe Prabhu karila gamana. So when the Lord passed through the jungle in great ecstasy, aveshe, packs of tigers, elephants, rhinos and boars came there, and the Lord passed right through them. Now, what was the condition of Balabhadra Bhattacharya? Balabhadra Bhattacharya was very much afraid. He became very, very fearful to see the wild animals. But then, by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's influence, all the animals gave way to them. They could easily go. They are standing guard, like soldiers stand guard. Ekadina pathe vyagra kariya cheshayana aveshe taragaye prabhura lagila charana. So one day, a tiger was lying on the path, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, walking along the path in ecstatic love, he happened to touch the tiger with his lotus feet. Prabhu kahe kaha Krishna vyagra uthila Krishna Krishna kahi vyagra nachite lagila. Now we have this beautiful painting by our own devotee, Haridas Thakur Prabhu, about Jharikanda Leela. That's the pastime we are discussing. So you can just see that, and whatever I am narrating here will be summarized in one beautiful painting. Anyway, so Lord Chaitanya said, chant the holy name of Krishna. The tiger immediately got up and began to dance and to chant Krishna Krishna. Now, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj would have imitated the tiger and said, how tiger was chanting. I am, an ordinary jiva, I can't do this. So, he started chanting Krishna Krishna. Ardine Mahaprabhu kare nadi snan matta haste yuta aila karite jalapan. Another day, while Sri Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was bathing in a river, a herd of maddened elephants, they came there to drink water. Anybody can come and drink water. There is no restriction, no municipality there. So they came. Prabhu jala krutya kare aage hasti aila Krishna kaha bali Prabhu jala feli marila. So when the elephants were drinking water, and the Lord also was bathing in the water there, what did he do? He immediately splashed, he splashed some water on the elephant, and then asked them to chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Then what happened? Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami very beautifully describes, says, Sei jala bindu kana lage maragai, Sei Krishna Krishna kahe preme nache gai. So the elephants, whose bodies were touched by water splashed by the Lord, began to chant Krishna Krishna and dance and sing in ecstasy. Pathyayite kare Prabhu Uchcha Sankirtan Madhura Kanta Dhvani Shuni Aise Nrugagan. Sometimes Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he chanted very loudly while passing through the jungle, and he was chanting in such sweet voice that all the does, deer, female deer, all of them, they came near him. Hena kale vyagra tatha aila panchasat Vyagramruni mili chale Mahaprabhur saath. While Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was passing through the jungle, 5 or 7 tigers came. Joining the deer, the tigers began to follow the Lord. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, traversing the jungle of Jharkhand, and there is of course Baldev Bhattacharya who is seeing all happening, such a fortunate personality, experiencing all this, and he is being followed by whom? Being followed by the tigers and the deer. They are traveling with him, देखी महाप्रभुर वृंदावन स्मृति हैला वृंदावन गुणवर्ण श्लोक पढ़िला. So when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu looked back, he is being followed by the deer and he is being followed by tigers, and then he remembered this particular verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, this verse which we are reading, Yatra Nisarga, which we have read, all of us. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remembered this verse. He is, after all, Krishna himself. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. What is so difficult for him to remember? He remembered this particular verse from Srimad Bhagavatam and he recited it. He remembered the beautiful environment of Vrindavan. He remembered this pastime of Lord Brahma coming down to Bhauma Vrindavan to test his Guru, Sri Krishna. He remembered all that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remembered all that. And that's the reason why we are talking about Chaitanya Charitamrita is here. Then, Krishna Krishna kaha kari Prabhu yabe balila Krishna kahi vyagramruga nachite lagila. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, chant Krishna, Krishna, the tigers and deer began to chant Krishna and dance. You can see the painting. Nache kunde vyagragana mrugigana sange Balabhadra Bhattacharya dekhe apurva range. So Balabhadra Bhattacharya is he is bewildered, completely astounded, seeing this pastime where ferocious tigers and the mild, gentle deer, they are together, dancing and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So he was simply wonderstruck, Balabhadra Bhattacharya. His mouth must have been open, gaping. When we are wonderstruck, sometimes our mouth opens. So Balabhadra Bhattacharya is experiencing this ecstasy, through the ecstasy experienced by the wild tigers and the deer. What a wonderful phenomena. Then what happened? This you can see in the painting. Vyagramruga anonya kare alingan, mukhe mukha diya kare anonya chumban. Indeed, the tigers and does began to embrace one another and touching mouths began to kiss. This is something only Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can do this. Nobody else can do it. Only he can execute that. So, the deer and the wild animals, they were embracing each other, they were kissing one another, and they were in ecstasy, chanting the holy names of the Lord. So this wonderful phenomena, was, demonstrated by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is always in Vrindavan consciousness, because he is none other than Radha Krishna. And what is Vrindavan? Nothing but pastimes of Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani, their pastimes. So he is carrying them all the time. He is Radha Krishna. So therefore, wherever he goes, that is Vrindavan. So in this forest, wild jungles of Jharkhand, he is, demonstrating this, and, he is influencing wild animals. This is what Srila Prabhupada also is describing in this purport. He is saying that the wild animals and human beings coexist in Vrindavan. Why? Because there is no envy in Vrindavan. There is no enviousness at all in Vrindavan. Everybody is, and there is no contamination, material contamination. Everybody is wanting to please Krishna. Krishna is the center, and everybody is wanting to please Krishna. And therefore, Everyone is happy. Prabhupada describes a cat is happy, a dog is happy, cow is happy, man is happy. Everybody is happy. So Krishna consciousness is all about being happy. Prabhupada would say, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. So it's all about happiness. So we can usher in Vrindavan consciousness in this grossly materialistic world in our hearts, by chanting Hare Krishna. That's what he said. Then, Kautuka dekhiya Prabhu hasite lagila, tasaba ke taha chhadi aage chali gela. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he saw all this fun, of the tigers and the wild animals embracing the deer, and he gave a beautiful smile. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's smile was most enticing. He gave a smile and started walking ahead. And as he was walking further ahead in the Jharkhand forest, what happened? Mayuradi pakshirana prabhu re dekhiya sange chale Krishna bali nache mattahana. So various birds, including the peacocks, saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and began to follow him, chanting and dancing. They were all maddened by the holy name of Krishna. Then, Hari bola bali Prabhu kare ucha dhvani vrukshalata prafullita sei dhvani shuni. When the Lord loudly chanted Hari bol, the trees and creepers became jubilant to hear him. So this is Vrindavan. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just demonstrated Vrindavan in the Jharkhand forest. So similarly, Srila Prabhupada, demonstrated Vrindavan consciousness in Boweries of America. Demonstrated that. Everything was wrong there. Everything was absolutely horrid. But Srila Prabhupada, who carried Vrindavan in his forest, he left actually Radha Damodar temple, and he left it, went to America, and gave the beautiful Vrindavan consciousness to everyone, all the hippies. So he made them, chant and dance. That's Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada concludes in his purport. I'll read it as it is and then stop the narration. The loud chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra is so powerful that it can even penetrate the ears of trees and creepers. What to speak of animals and what to speak of human beings. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu once asked Haridas Thakur, Namacharya Haridas Thakur, he asked him how trees and plants could be delivered. Haridas Thakur replied, the loud chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra would benefit not only trees and plants, but insects and all other living beings. One should therefore not be disturbed by loud chanting of Hare Krishna, for it is beneficial not only to the chanter, but to everyone who gets an opportunity to hear. So Srila Prabhupada is giving us the Yuga Dharma. So let us fearlessly and with love in our heart chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I have far exceeded my time. Please forgive me. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam ki jai.